The steady beat is critical to making music. It's also really important for language acquisition and early reading. The studies coming out of the Neurolinguistics Laboratory at Northwestern University that's led by Dr. Nina Kraus are very important for you as an educator to know. And you can look these studies up at northwestern.brainvolts.edu and read all about the connections between music and reading and music and all different kinds of learning. So what I'm going to show you now is something that is scientifically proven to be important for children to be able to do on a daily basis so that they can establish the steady beat within their brains and within their bodies. We will start without an instrument, and then we will move to put it on an instrument and use that to help you learn to play the guitar and the ukulele. Okay, so my little Martin here is a wonderful instrument. It is 3/4 sized. It's great if you're a tiny person or a mid-sized person. I'm very tall and I love it because it's like a teddy bear. I can hug it. And I'm going to use this to show you the first beat. We call it the steady beat. Understanding the beat does not mean knowing how to read it on paper, but we're going to help you do that too. So here we go. A steady beat is just a sound that happens again and again the same way each time. It's a beat that has the equal length of the beat before it and the beat after it. It's the same pace as if you are walking in even steps or clapping your hands. So we just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the steady beat. It can be fast or slow, but it's steady. So I'm going to ask you to sit or stand in a place you're comfortable so that you can produce the steady beat with me. And we're going to learn to say it with a syllable that is ta, ta, just a T-A. Here we go. We're going to do them in groups of 4 like this. Ta, 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 ta. So we just did 4 groups of 4 steady beats, and that would be a whole line of music if we add instruments and singing, and we can write it down on paper. So let's find out different ways we can engage the kids in playing the steady beat. And we're going to use what we call in music ed body percussion, which means just using your body to make these sounds. So we're going to start with 2 hands together at one level of the body. This is work that comes from Phyllis Weichert and the High Scope Institute. Young children can coordinate 2 hands together at one level of the body without having too much trouble with it. So if you're teaching anybody from daycare and preschool up through grade 1, this is really doable for these children. So we're just going to clap the steady beat at the waist level like this. Ta, 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 ta. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the children can do this, and we can use this as a rhythm below a chant. So now we're going to find out where else we can play that beat. If the children are standing or sitting, they can do all kinds of things with their feet. They can move their toes from side to side, forward and back. They can bounce on their heels. They can stand and walk it, tiptoe it, and we can use a lot of really rich language to describe the verb of their action, keeping the steady beat with their feet on the floor. It's lots of fun. They can use their hips and shake their hips to the beat. Those are the first 2 levels of the body beat. Then we're going to come up. Well, I'd skip the knees, actually. The knees are a lot of fun because you can move your knees apart and together and side to side. So we want to encourage that creative thinking in the kids. So then we come to the waist level and we've got clapping, right? Or we've got all sorts of other things we can do here with hands in front. Or we can cross the midline and go to the hug. So if you know about brain development, you know that crossing the midline is critical for brain development. Even just for reading, it's really important because when children are reading, they're going to be going from one side of the page to the other. That was my left to my right, or your left to your right. When we get to the middle, that's the midline. Well, if the brain won't make that leap physically, when the child goes to read on the page and they get to the middle of that page, they may lose comprehension trying to make that jump across the midline by the time they're at the end of the sentence, they're not quite sure what it meant. So what I'm going to show you now with the beat will help them achieve this neural pathway. So we're going to start with hands on shoulders, cross the midline, hands on shoulders, cross the midline. Ta, 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 ta. Count it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. Now we're going to change to the level of the head. This is funny, and kids think it's great when you as the teacher do something goofy, right? So we're just going to put our fingertips on our head, and we're going to do 2 hands together like this. Ta, ta, ta to the shoulders. Ta, ta, ta to clapping. Ta, ta, ta to the shoulders. Ta, ta, ta to the head. Ta, ta. You with me? To the shoulders. Ta, 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 and clapping. 1, 2, 3, and rest. Now let's look over at the chart. We're going to look at how we can visually represent the beat so that children can actually read it. This is easier reading than actually going to letters or numbers because each beat is an exact replica of the one before. They don't have to learn a lot of symbols. So even as very young, early readers, they can do this. So we're going to look here at the steady beat. And we want to reinforce this understanding. Steady beat, can you put it in your feet? Right? So now we're doing rhyming. It's all literacy. And let's look here at the beginning. And what I've done here is I've written you 4 what we call measures of music. Now, if you've never taken a music lesson before, just think of these like boxes. It's a box of music. And all the boxes, this is my freehand drawing, so not perfect, but all the boxes are about the same size. They're supposed to be exactly the same. So we just make a mark from the top to the bottom. And when we count the beats this way, then we've got them. Ta, 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 ta. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, ta, 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 ta. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, so that wasn't so hard, huh? So now we can take a rhyme and put it with that steady beat. If you've got the kids doing something physical, it's going to fully engage them in the learning process, and they're going to remember exactly what they're chanting. So if you stay with us, I'm going to be teaching you songwriting lyrics for learning, and you'll be able to design songs that embed your curricular ideas and engage the kids in critical thinking to create their own lyrics to reinforce lesson content. I know that's a lot of language here, but when you think about the ABC song and how so many children learn the ABCs that way, what if you could teach great stories that way? What if you could teach nonfiction analysis at the first grade level, right? What are the facts? What's the difference between fact and opinion? What if you could teach all those ideas with a song? You can. So when you're ready to learn at that step, you can go to the videos in the series that will show you how to do it.